Okay, we're live. There we go.
All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
All right, there's a lot of folks here.
Okay, so
It
I
worked
guess we can
again.
start. Okay.
That's twice in a row. We're good to
Twice in a
go.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Cardano Effect podcast, episode 92. The purpose of this podcast is to take high-level developer information and projects that are occurring within the Cardano space and break them down into bite-sized, consumable pieces of information for everyday use. I'm your host, Philippe, and let's get this podcast started. Rick and myself are the hosts of the Cardano Effect, and for all those who are new to our podcast, this is our weekly live stream series where we discuss all the latest news and events that happened within the Cardano ecosystem for the past week. You can follow along on Reddit, and we also open up the chat and have a discussion with everyone who is involved. So we're glad that you decided to join us on this Sunday. We hope that everyone had a wonderful week, and we're going to get started right away. So I'd like to remind everyone that none of what we say on this podcast is financial advice. Remember, you are your best financial advisor, and if you don't think you are, you need to find someone who's qualified to do so. Rick, how are you doing this morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, good morning, Philippe. Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I'd also like to thank the Cardano Foundation for sponsoring this podcast and remind anybody who's new viewers to the podcast that this podcast is available on all major audio streaming platforms. So if you're working out or driving in your car, you can listen to this podcast on audio. All right. So some of the big news coming up, the Shelley Haskell Testnet is now public. It started off as the Friends and Family Testnet, is now public Testnet. There's a lot of pool operators out there who have made videos. You have Kaizen Crypto, who did a hardware video on how to build hardware. Thank you, Kaizen Crypto. You have Proof of Africa made a guide to set up a node on the Cardano Haskell Shelley Testnet. So check out that guide by Proof of Africa. You can find that on Medium. And so if you want to set up a node of your own, you can. Right now I think there's about 112 to 120 active people running and building nodes, and about 200 nodes on the network. This network works slightly different than the Jormungandr network did with the Rust code. So you don't see the nodes in a similar manner they did before, but they still connect. The block rate is set at a very high speed, and it looks like the updates are working well. There's also a pool tool web link you can go to. It's ff.pooltool.io. You start with ff.pooltool.io. You can check that out and see how the activity on the Shelley Haskell testnet is going over there. I don't have my pool ticker up on there yet, but I have basic pools set up, and we're just kind of playing around, learning the early stages, and then we'll have some pools up and running in a little while over here. So
and also, we also have to give a shout out to Big Pay as well, who's making some good YouTube videos as well. So
yes,
yeah, so check his channel out as well. So we have Kaizen Crypto, we have the Proof of Africa, we have Big Pay. So a lot of community members are getting involved and putting out some great content out there. So please check it out.
Yeah, check out Big Pay's channel. Thank you for that, Philippe. And also you have Umed Saidov did some really great work with Prometheus and Grafana on making a really cool dashboard. And I would like to encourage people, if you can get pictures of you with your nodes, your displays, anything like that, go ahead and get some photos of all these humans, because there's so many people out there working, even on your Rust Jormungandr nodes. Get some photos, put them up there on Twitter, put them up on Facebook, share it with your friends, your family, and everybody out there, so people can see what does a Cardano network really look like. You know, it's just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people operating nodes and setting up infrastructure, running the Cardano software in all its many various forms, and just let people know that you're out there, it's running, it's working, and everything is going well. I mean, the Haskell is not perfect. That's why we're on the Haskell testnet, but it is going pretty amazingly well, extremely efficient, very clean, and I'm excited. What we have coming up next is I'm going to pull up the timeline. I'm going to go over the timeline, and for guidance, I'm going to use an article that was written by Mr. Gwendal LD. Thank you for that, and you can check out Gwendal LD on Medium. His articles, he has a lot of articles on Cardano, along with Proof of Africa and Max also writing articles on Cardano on Medium, so check those folks out over there. And I'm going to screen share the timeline. That's the big thing coming up. Big stuff. All right, I can't see the chat. I just lost it. So let me, if you got any questions in chat, let us know. Philippe will be checking chat. You got us covered, Philippe?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. And put the screen share up here, and we have the Cardano timeline. Many of you seen this from the streams with Tim Harrison and Aparna and a lot of the folks in IOHK. They went over this timeline. We are here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, if that's showing on the screen, but June 14th and June 16th, we have the Shelley Testnet wallet is available. So coming out in just a few days, the Shelley Testnet wallet is coming out. I'm going to refer to the article here from Gwendol briefly so I can run through that. So starting with June 9th, so just right over here, what I just mentioned, the Shelley Haskell Testnet has gone full public. Okay, the friends and family were to work out the bugs with just a few folks or a small group of people, work out the startup of the network. Then it goes to the public network, and now we're seeing how all of these nodes scale, right? And so June 9th, that launched. June 16th, coming out in just a few days. This is a key date for individuals owning ADA. The version of the dataless wallets will tell us what the end user experience is going to look like. Now, I wouldn't call it the final end user experience because it's the beginning of a test net. So I anticipate that there's going to be some work and some revisions going on. That's just how software works once you deploy it. Once it goes on all these different platforms like Mac, Linux, and Windows, and different variations of Mac, Linux, and Windows. And then we'll get all the matters with dataless sorted out there once that dataless goes out. So that's Shelley Testnet wallet available. June 22nd, the Hard Fork Combinator, this amazing piece of technology, or June 23rd, Hard Fork Combinator comes up online. And I still don't understand it entirely. I've read a little bit on it, but somehow you can run different variations of a protocol, and the Hard Fork Combinator allows it to here, I'll read it. It says a combinator is just a technical term for something that combines other things. For example, addition is a combinator of numbers. A hard fork combinator combines two protocols into a single protocol, and we call this a sequential combination of the two protocols because it runs the first for a while at some point and switches over to the second. Okay, so the hard fork combinator June 23rd, and that's to facilitate the transition into the full Shelley code. Then by June 30th, and you see this timeline is tight. You guys know I'm pretty critical of timelines. In this case, I am highly confident in this timeline is quite reasonable. It does have some backup dates, okay? So we're probably looking at a week within, plus or minus a week of these dates of actually hitting the releases. Keep your eyes and ears peeled for more information as it comes out, okay? All right, so we good so far? Any questions in chat? If there are, I probably can't answer them, but may as well give it a shot, right?
Okay. Let's see.
All right, so continuing on with the timeline while we check. End of life Legacy SL July 1st. That ends the Legacy Cardano SL from the Byron era. And the Shelley code release backup date is July 7th, from June 30th to July 7th. There's your window for the Shelley code release. Finding a hard fork around July 29th. Your ITN rewards, a couple days later, about 5 days later, you'll have them up on the available on the mainnet. The ITN rewards will be available August 3rd. August 3rd, this is when the warp drive engines kick in, and then the first staking rewards. What will happen is a few epochs will elapse as the pool operators are bringing their pools up on the mainnet in this zone. Okay. And then August 18th, the first staking rewards will kick off sometime around August 18th. And that seems pretty reasonable. I think it was a few months ago we talked about this, and we thought August was a good date. I mean, there were people saying, oh, 2021, fourth quarter, and we were like, I think August, and I think we hit that. So
I think so. We have a couple questions in chat. We have a question from Ro Coco. Will the longer epoch length in mainnet have influence on the rewards? Will current rewards ITN be stretched in mainnet? So it's going to be the rewards. I don't know if you're talking about the percentage of return rewards, like your ROS on the mainnet versus the ITN, it's going to be lower on the mainnet. It's also going to be a longer time period, so you're going to have the 5-day epoch as opposed to the 1-day epoch that you have in the ITN. That's all I can answer for that question. Rick, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think for the stakers, they're going to see similar rewards because even though it's spread out over 5 days, let's say your rewards are 50 ADA per day, for example, okay? And right now you're getting paid out 50 ADA per day, okay, for example. Here it will just be, instead of 50 ADA per day, it might be 250 ADA after 5 days. That's just my general assessment. I think you're going to see, for the stakers, you're going to see similar rewards. For the pool operators, it's going to be a little bit of a juggling to really figure it out. Like we still don't know what A0 is and K is. So for the pool operators, it's still going to be a little bit of a challenge putting together exactly what the rewards are going to look like, or what the returns are going to look like. And
I was on the Rick. I was under the assumption that the ROS was going to be less during mainnet.
Yeah, I think it will.
The ITN.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit less. It'll be similar. It'll be similar, but maybe a little less. Does that sound?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. My crystal ball's broken, man. I left it in my other pockets.
We have another question from Antonio's Tube. After they do the hard fork, can someone set up a stake pool once Shelley is released? Let's say 1 year from now. Yes, you'll be able to open up a stake pool whenever. So 5 years, 10 years, whenever you're ready to join the Cardano ecosystem, you'll be able to boot it up and get going. So it's not just the stake pools that are initiated in that July-August timeframe that are going to be the stake pools forever. There are going to be stake pools that are dropping out and also stake pools that are coming online.
Yes. There's pools that currently do not even exist that are 5 years from now are going to be up and running. A good question. Any other questions? Oh, hey, Charles is in chat. Hey, Charles. Charles, if you got any questions, let us know. If you want to help us with the correct answers, also let us know. All right. Thank you, Charles, for being there. And Ada North Pole, how you doing? Lots of folks in chat. All right. So that's the timeline. Where else do we have? So August 18th, that's the target. We're probably going to hit that, plus or minus a week. Easy day.
Yes.
I like it. All right, I'll bring down the screen share.
Okay.
We good? Okay. If there's any questions on the timeline, please feel free to check out the Medium articles from Proof of Africa and many other writers, and from Gwendol LD, the Shelley Rollout Plan Complete Overview. And there's also the IOHK YouTube channel with the previous crowdcasts are now available on YouTube. So you can check those out over there, and make sure you're up to date by following all the Twitter feeds from Emergo, the Cardano Foundation, and IOHK. IOHK Media is a new Twitter account, so check out the IOHK Media Twitter account for the latest information. And I think the next thing we had, Philippe, was Hyperledger, where you're...
Yes. Before we talk about Hyperledger, I just wanted to remind everyone that they can go visit cardanosummit.iohk.io and go and register for the virtual summit, which is on July 2nd and July 3rd. So if you have some spare time, I mean, there are going to be events all day, so it's not like you have to tune in all day. But if you want to catch some speakers, if you want to see some people present, there are a lot of speakers on the website. So far, we have Vinton Cerf, Caitlin Long, Stephen Wolfram, of course, Charles Hoskinson, Agalos Kiayas, and John O'Connor. And there are going to be many more that are going to be announced. So I'm assuming that the schedule or the docket or the itinerary is going to be posted very soon. So it's something like you can just log into your computer, register, and when you have an event that interests you, just check it out. And I'm sure there are going to be lots of articles and people talking about what's going on, because this is a big summit. I mean, I went to the 2019 summit in Miami, and it was grand. So IOHK does things big, and I think this is going to be a fun event for everyone. So,
yes, yeah. It's an all-star cast. Vincent Cerf, he's an inventor of the internet, one of the people involved with the creation of the internet. Amazing, absolutely.
Yeah, did you see his little video that he put on IOHK, on the IOHK YouTube?
Yeah.
So, and These are the people, these are the visionaries. They're going to be talking about the future of the internet, where it's going, where we're headed, and we'll get some hints and we'll get some tips about what direction we're moving towards. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be fantastic. It'll be epic. It'll be an epic when that occurs.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why I got my Plutus shirt on today. Always look forward, always leaning forward. Plutus out by the end of the year, guys. Think about it. Think about that. Plutus is going to be out by the end of the year. Woo!
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a big year. This is a big year. And I think this transitions well to the next thing we're going to be talking about. So on the IOHK blog, there is a blog post that was written on the 10th, and it says why we are joining Hyperledger. So this was written by Romain Pellerin over at IOHK, and I have a few notes because I thought that this was wonderful news, and I think that people should be very excited, very bullish about Cardano in general, because once you join Hyperledger, in my opinion, it solidifies you as a cryptocurrency for the next 5, 10 years, 15 years, who knows? Because Hyperledger, basically, it's this open source blockchain where all these different companies come and they play around with blockchain. They create applications, they create use cases, and the biggest companies in the world use Hyperledger. And Ethereum is part of Hyperledger. I mean, they were a joining member as well. I believe they have Hyperledger Besu and Hyperledger Burrow for Ethereum. And there's a use case on the Hyperledger website, and Walmart uses Hyperledger Fabric. And Hyperledger Fabric is a modular blockchain framework that acts as a foundation for developing blockchain-based products, solutions, and applications using plug-and-play components that are aimed for use within private enterprises. And that whole idea of using plug-and-play components and blockchain-based products sounds a lot like Plutus, sounds a lot like Marlowe, that plug and play. So if we can put our tools in that community, there may be companies, Fortune 500 companies in the future, or private enterprises that use our tools within that network in order to develop their applications. One of the applications that Walmart uses it for is for supply chain management. So they did a test trial run with mangoes. So there's a whole issue within the food supply chain network of tracking products from the store to the source. And originally, before they started using Hyperledger Fabric for certain SKUs that they sell at Walmart, it took them around 7 days to identify a product and then track it back to the farm or the source of where that product was created or where it was shipped from. So if you have a whole issue maybe with E. coli, every now and then, the lettuce at Walmart, there's an E. coli scare, and they have to track where that E. coli was. And instead of tracking it in a secure manner, they just basically empty out the entire supply chain. They throw out all the lettuce, everything that could have been contaminated. But if you can identify certain products that were contaminated and maybe trace it back to a particular farm in a timely manner, then you don't have to have all that waste. You don't have to have all that spillage, and things can become more efficient and profitable for Walmart. They can pass on those savings to the end user. So originally, before they were using that Hyperledger Fabric, it took them 7 days to track from product to source. And after they used the Hyperledger Fabric, it took them around 2.2 seconds. So it tracks that whole supply chain and allows them to figure out exactly where that product is coming from. And they used it with a test case for mangoes. And I thought this was very interesting because supply chain is huge, and these plug and play components and this ability to document things in the blockchain and make it more efficient is going to provide more. It's going to make things more efficient moving forward into the future. I also wanted to say that internal auditing mechanisms is a wonderful use case, and I'm also excited because a lot of the companies that are using Hyperledger, they use a combination of permissioned and permissionless blockchains in order to provide the solutions for their blockchain applications. And I think this is indicative of Cardano maybe moving towards more privacy features in the future, because if they want to work within these B2G or B2B businesses, so business to business or business to government, these ecosystems, they're going to have to provide these companies, they're going to have to provide these governments with the ability to obfuscate certain transactions or obfuscate their data in a way that is that solely relies on their application or their use case. So if Walmart has a use case for mango tracking, they can keep that internal and maintain certain privacy features and ultimately strengthen their business model. So I thought this was pretty important. One of the things that I would have liked to see is at the beginning, when Cardano first started, we had something called KEVM. So this was the Ethereum virtual machine with the K framework. And since Ethereum is a member of the Hyperledger community, offering a KEVM product within that Hyperledger community may be a good advertising tool for Cardano to port people from that Ethereum over to Cardano. That's what I thought. Those were some of my initial thoughts. I'm rambling, but I also have one more thing to say. One of my good friends from college, he works for American Express, and these are the companies that are using Hyperledger. American Express is using Hyperledger. They're testing Hyperledger. They're also using Ripple. They're using a lot of different, very innovative blockchains in order to push their products forward. So Cardano being part of this community is really going to advertise us to a different level, allow these big businesses, these big institutions to really play around with the tools that we're going to be providing in the near future. So yeah, Rick, I'm going to pass it over to you. I rambled enough and maybe it was a little bit all over the place, but yeah, those are some of my thoughts.
That was a good ramble. Philippe, you are so well in tune with what's going on with Hyperledger. I am not, but I would like to let people know there is, if you want to read more about Hyperledger, check out ibm.com/blockchain. Click on Hyperledger. Okay, that's ibm.com because Hyperledger is made in partnership with IBM, or it's part of an IBM. What is it? Sponsored, Philippe? Is that what it is?
No, IBM supports it. Yeah, so they contributed to it. Intel also contributed to it. SAP, Ariba. So there's various different companies, but IBM is probably the biggest name that's associated with Hyperledger. Mm-hmm. But these are open source blockchains, so it doesn't really belong to any particular company. But I guess you can say it's backed by IBM. So
yeah, and supported by the Linux Foundation. So check out ibm.com/blockchain Hyperledger, and there it will give you a description where Hyperledger Fabric from the Linux Foundation is the modular blockchain framework that's become the de facto standard for enterprise blockchain platforms. Okay, so you have more information at ibm.com on Hyperledger. All right. I saw a few questions in the chat, shifting gears a little bit, about setting up a stake pool. People are interested in and how to set them up. I'll put a collection of links down below in the description once we're done with the live stream here.
Sounds good.
To Big Pays and Kaizen and to Proof of Africa. And if you don't have a YouTube video that suits your fancy, check out the Proof of Africa. It's a very easy to follow guide. I haven't done it. I will also put the link to the IOHK Friends and Family tutorials. And my recommendation is if you want to set up a pool on the Cardano Shelley Haskell Testnet is start with the tutorial, not the exercises, and go through the tutorial steps first, just building up a basic self node, then connecting it to the network, and not really a self node, but a basic network node, and then it gets more and more advanced as you go along. Once you're familiar with that, roll on over to the exercises and start banging those out, and those will give you practice doing things, okay? So start there with IOHK. We'll get the links down below, okay? All right,
yes.
Sounds good. Yes. Let's see here. Let's see. Other questions in chat. Emmanuel Rector asks, guys, is there a Swiss Cardano community? I'm pretty sure there is. It's Cardano is based in Switzerland. Cardano Foundation is headquarters in Switzerland. There's a lot of folks there, and you could probably find more information on. I don't know if there's a Swiss Telegram channel, but there's a lot of Telegram channels.
I'm sure there's something out there.
Yep. All right. So we covered a lot of the latest news. What else did we have?
Rick, we have one more blog post from the Cardano Foundation that I wanted to cover before we jump over to Reddit. So the latest blog post from the Cardano Foundation is the Cardano Foundation expands its technology capabilities with new appointments. So they have appointed Mel McCann as Platform Integrations Engineer and John McPherson as Exchange Relationship Manager. So I think these people are going to be helping push Cardano forward on new exchanges, new platforms, and it's always good to have those kind of people in your arsenal. And moving forward, this is huge because, I know everyone's asking, especially everyone in the States, when Coinbase. These are the kind of hires that you need in order to get these things pushed onto the platform. So, yeah.
Yep, I know everyone's interested in when is the Coinbase and when Moon, when Mars. We're going to Andromeda, bro.
We're going to Andromeda.
Be the
Rick,
first. Yeah.
I had a question to ask you. So, and I wanted to open it up to chat too. Okay. So I was reading an article. I don't know if it was from CoinDesk or Cointelegraph. I don't remember. But they were talking about the amount of like the inflow and outflow of Bitcoin every day. And they were talking about how much miners are selling and how much miners would be selling at a certain price. So I wanted to open it up to you and the chat, because as we approach that August date, when people's rewards become available, when people actually are able to actuate their Cardano, their ADA, so they can send that ADA back to an exchange or whatever the case may be, there's going to be, of course, more ADA within the ecosystem. So within Bitcoin, if Bitcoin hits $100,000, they were estimating that they would need at least $90 million a day. So $90 million of sell pressure a day from the miners in order to sustain that 100K price. So, of course, it can hit 100K at some point, but that's a lot of money over a long period of time. Over $90 million a day in order to secure the network, in order to keep miners with their ASICs turned on. So for us, we're proof of stake. We're a lot more robust. So it doesn't take $90 million or it doesn't take millions of dollars to secure the Cardano network. It's a fraction of that. And even if the price goes up astronomically, it's still going to be a fraction of that. But Cardano is inflating. So my question to you is, as Cardano inflates, as people accumulate rewards, what do you think? Do you think that sell pressure from inflation is going to keep the price within a certain tight range after a certain while? Or do you think that we're going to be able to overcome that sell pressure as we grow? Like, are we going to be able to overcome that hump? And Bitcoin has a lot of humps moving forward as the price increases.
Well, I think the sell pressure definitely will not be as intense. Okay, and for those of you that are following along or just dialing in, what the sell pressure in Bitcoin comes from is they need to mine the coins, then sell the coins in order to pay for the electricity, which at 60 terawatt hours per year is a lot of money worth of electricity. And I'm assuming that's where the $90 million in sell pressure comes from, is to power all those ASICs. They have to sell to pay for the electricity. I used to do that on a very small scale right here at my house. We used to run the proof of work miner, and we budgeted, just like you budget for everything. You have to budget for everything. We budgeted a chunk of those coins. I'm not going to say the S word, but those smaller coins, the smaller coins, we budgeted and had to sell them and say, okay, this is going to pay for electricity, so we're going to just sell it off. On Bitcoin, it's on a much, much larger scale. Will Cardano have that problem? No. Not going to have that problem. At least not as far as, do I got to pay for electricity? Pool operator costs are much lower. I recently did a Twitter poll asking about those pool operator costs. And I put a band, and people might look at it and say, well, a few people said, well, that band doesn't make sense. And I gave a band of 5. What is your pool operating cost? I gave a low end of an annual operating cost of $5,000 to $10,000. $5K to $10K low end. Mid-range $10K to $15K per year to operate a pool. Then $15K to $20K high end to operate a pool. The results were about, I think it was 52% low end between 5 and 10K. Okay, so that's a lot less sell pressure. That's a lot less. No, the pool operating costs for Cardano, you don't have to pay for all that electricity. It was a lot. It was a lot of electricity. Just 2,000 watt miner, my electricity bill would more than double. 2,000 watt miner running 24/7. My electricity bill more than doubled. So don't have that with Cardano. Barely makes a dent. We got an air conditioner sitting there. Uses more powerful than all the Cardano nodes combined at my house. So I don't think the sell pressure is going to be there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, as the price rises, it's going to be a lot. I mean, ADA rewards will stay within a range, but the value of that ADA is going to increase and increase. Like right now at the price of like 7-8 cents, if you divide the number of rewards that were created since the dawn of the ITN network, which was around 135 days, you're looking at this current price, a couple $100,000 that are generated each day in rewards. And, you know, in the mainnet, we have to expect that a portion of that will be sold or moved into exchanges and traded and whatnot. So it's just a question for the audience as well, because, you know, we're going to have to face that problem. And that's why I've been pushing for greater incentives for stake pool operators, because it keeps that money locked in, and there's less fluidity from actual stake pool operators dumping their own bags on top of people moving their rewards. So it's just the faucet is smaller, and that constrains the amount of ADA that's available, and ultimately puts an upward pressure on the price. So I'm just wondering if it's going to ever stabilize or what's going to happen.
I think it will stabilize. I think it will find a happy point where the amount of new ADA being minted and the current supply and the amount being staked is going to find a balance, because you got traders who love to trade, and they might stake it and then turn around and say, you know what, I also want to trade, and I'm going to keep some on an exchange. I'm going to keep a bag over at the exchange for a quick turnaround. I'm going to keep a bag over here on a cold wallet for long-term storage. I'm going to keep a bag over here in a hot wallet for, using. And then the things like you mentioned earlier, Hyperledger is going to kick in, and it will have utility, either the ADA itself or a coin running on Plutus. Okay, a stable coin running on Plutus is going to have saleability, and ADA will provide the gas, the propulsion to run those coins across the network. So it will rise and find a happy point. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know, but it'll get there.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Long term, it's somewhere up a little bit from where it is now, is my best guess.
I
can't
have the same thoughts.
Yeah. And there's been Charles has mentioned they have a plan. He's got a plan for everything, man. He also got some more shit in his back pocket. I see Charles saying in chat there's going to be a large speculative surge to gobble that up, and the more we deliver on the roadmap, the more people are going to price us based upon Ethereum. Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, and Philippe, I don't want to sound negative about this, but the exchanges kind of prop up Bitcoin and Ethereum by setting those trading pairs. I know I mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
So I think within a couple years, you'll see the trading pairs based directly on ADA. It's going to happen. Yeah. You're going to see ADA trading pairs to other cryptocurrencies that are coming online or something to that effect. It's inevitable.
Yeah, that's needed.
Not financial advice.
That's needed.
Technical advice.
Technical advice.
Technical speculation.
Yes.
That's technical speculation.
Yes.
Okay. Boy, we covered a lot today. We're good. We still got 20 minutes left. We were going to go over to Reddit. Oh, let's
check chat.
Check chat. Anybody any questions in there? Please let us know if you have any questions. If we can't answer them, we'll try to get them to somebody who can, or feel free to help each other out. And hopefully by now some people are finding links to how to set up the Shelley Haskell nodes. And you'll find that that's pretty fun. Low power consumption.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I estimated the entire Jormungandr Rust network was running on about 50,000 watts. That's high end. That's including, server power and stuff like that.
Wow. Compare that to Bitcoin. That's just It's orders of magnitude.
Oh, I've seen warehouses. Bitmain in China. There's pictures of warehouse after warehouse full of ASICs. I can't imagine how much energy that uses.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for that Vice documentary of in 5 years of ASIC miners dumped in like rivers and oceans and stuff like that. You'll see a whole bunch of documentaries about that in the future.
Yeah, and Bitcoin will still be solid. Don't get me wrong. You know, people they say, why are you hating on Bitcoin? It's not hating. It's being honestly critical.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
When you're honestly critical of something that has an infinite upward spiral of power consumption, you got to stop and think about it and say, okay, how do we manage this? Well, it's decentralized. You can't manage it. You know, so it's going to just continue to spiral upward until maybe someday Bitcoin will run on quantum computers. You know, quantum computers aren't the bad guy. Maybe they can be the friend.
Maybe
get Bitcoin running on quantum computers and then it won't use as much power. Yay. That'd be awesome.
We'll see.
I mean, go figure. The crypto people, if anyone's going to figure out how to use a quantum computer to run crypto, it's going to be the crypto people.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Charles says DEX for the win. We do need a decentralized exchange.
Oh yeah, DEX.
I love. I use iDEX every now and then, and I love it. And a couple other DEX platforms, and I think DEXs are really cool.
Yeah.
So,
I messed with Saturn Network, and it's fascinating that if, let's say, a Saturn Network runs on Ethereum Classic, and Kyber Network did really good last week.
Kyber Network?
Yeah, Kyber was like not their native token or something. They were really knocking it out, man. They were doing good. Hashoshi was putting out information on that too. So, yeah. So I just found the DEX is fascinating and realized you could make a stock exchange like a DEX instead of issuing. Currently, the people who issue products on the DEXs offer a product or service for someone to use, and it's small scale. But these are the pioneers of the future. You know, and eventually you could put something like a stock exchange on a DEX, and say instead of buying and selling and trading products and services on a small scale, you're selling pieces of a company. I know I've mentioned on here before, but Proton Mail plans on doing that. They're going to sell shares on a blockchain.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So they would sell partial shares, and you would, or is it full shares on the blockchain? Like, are they splitting up stocks and you become a partial owner, or is it more like you can buy a share of Apple through their product?
No, they're selling their own company.
They're selling
shares of their own company.
Shares of their own company.
You purchase a share of Proton Mail by purchasing their shares through blockchain technology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, and I think Proton Mail is Swiss-based.
Okay.
I have a Proton Mail account, but I keep it. I don't put that information out. Absolutely, only it's needed. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Let's see. There's some questions in chat for Charles. Let's see. Looks like he's answering them there. Okay. All right. So over to Reddit, and then it will be a wrap, unless we have any other questions come out there.
Sounds good.
Okay. A lot of stuff on Reddit. Again, we're over 80,000. Last week we were 80,200. Now we're at 80,600 people on Reddit. And we're not even a bull run. Philippe, I got to hand it to you, man. We're on episode 92. And we powered through this last bear market. And I think now it's like a normalized market.
I agree.
I know we do want to hit on market talk once in a while. We don't want to leave the traders and the people looking at the market. We don't want to leave them out of the conversation.
Oh, definitely. So, They're important. It's Rick, this whole podcast has pretty much been in a bear market, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So and look at how big this podcast has grown, and it's all thanks to everyone here. And hopefully, when the next bull market comes, this is a good source of material for people to come.
Yeah,
and see.
And I got to give a shout out to the Cardano Foundation for continuing to post Blockfolio notifications during the bear market. Because for the last year, I thought my Blockfolio was broke. I'm like, I've got these other coins besides Cardano in here, but I'm seeing message after message, pretty much, day after day or week after week, from Cardano, and I'm like, did I not turn on notifications for these messages or something for my other coins? And then all of a sudden, the market started to pick up a few months ago. You started to get a little bit of excitement, a little bit of activity. And then all of a sudden, I started seeing them pop in from the other coins. I was like, oh, they are there. They just weren't as active during the bear market, whereas Cardano was.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's comforting to know that when the going gets tough, they're still there.
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah, they've been here since the beginning, and the team is just for them for the team to be so big during a bear market. It's amazing. It's incredible because like we've had the biggest team at IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation combined in the roughest of times when the price has been depressed for as long as possible. So think about when liquidity increases, when more money flows into the blockchain, and we still have giant teams working behind these projects. So I think that's a very good sign. I mean, for you to be thriving when everything is terrible, I mean, it only bodes well when our luck kind of reverses.
Yeah, that's when innovation is born. When everything is hell and everything is on fire.
Yeah.
That's where you forge the sharpest swords, is in that fire.
Correct.
When things are going easy, that's not when innovation is born.
Yep.
It's when you're going through hell. Okay. It's worth noting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's hit a few items on Reddit. And so our big news over there, I did scan over this earlier. Oh, there's no more Ethereum Charles. That was the number one, posted by user IOG Charles. I wonder who that is. IOG Charles. I wonder if that used to be Ethereum Charles. Oh, you see, there's a lot of news articles out lately that still say stuff like Ethereum co-founder blah blah blah, and Charles been hammering the shit out of him, saying, "I'm the CEO of IOHK." I don't know why people don't get it. You know, that's the delusion of blockchain. You know, I've said it before, Philippe. There's a lot of people in blockchain are delusional. They say Cardano is vaporware. Well, guess what? Those are a bunch of muppets, sock puppets, and window lickers that say Cardano is vaporware.
Of course.
They really are.
Of course.
Because I just posted pictures. Here's a bunch of nodes running. Here's wallets. Here's people making videos. Everybody putting all that information out there. And there's the vaporware. Vaporware? What? They're crazy, man. They're crazy.
So many people are running nodes. Rick and you and I have been running nodes since the beginning of the ITN. So I don't know.
Some people just stuck on stupid, man.
Yeah,
that's all there's to it. They're just stuck on stupid.
You can't help them. You know?
We can just focus on the good ones and help the good ones, and just let the other ones kind of wander off.
Yeah. No, definitely.
It'll work out in the long run. So, no more thing. It's founder of IOHK and Cardano. That is the correct title. That's the number one post on Reddit this week. That was pretty funny. Okay, we have an impact of Shelley by General Zod, one of my favorite Redditors. Not to pick favorites, but you got to admit, man, General Zod is good. And he writes about the marathon towards Shelley. So
yeah,
if you're not an avid Redditor, check out General Zod's posts. He does quite well with keeping people engaged in a polite and friendly manner.
Yeah.
The impact of Shelley is going to be huge.
Yeah, I think so. I
mean, there's so many dimensions to it.
I think so.
Okay, we got information we put out earlier. The Haskell Testnet is open. It's open to the public. Everybody join. Make sure you use the, you'll find the lists out there. You can download them. I think Pool Tool has one posted where you can download lists of peers so you can connect to peers. Make sure you get the list of peers. If you just follow the directions, you might only connect to one or two nodes in the directions. But if you want to connect to 50, 80 nodes, or at least initial connection, there's lists of peers posted in Telegram and on ff.pooltool.io. All right, let's see. What's the other one? Cardano is trending at the highest for the past 12 months on Google Trends. I don't know how that works. Google Trends, what does it do? Just keeps track of how many links or how many times people search for a name?
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, A lot of stuff has been happening within Cardano, and Cardano has been releasing a lot of press, a lot of blog articles, and Summit is coming up. So I'm sure a lot of people are typing in Cardano.
Oh, yeah. I'm noticing a slight uptick in hits on the Cardano Effect YouTube and on my other YouTube channel, that there's a little bit more activity lately.
Yeah, people are curious. People are curious.
Oh, plus, we have a lot of YouTubers in Cardano now, and there's always room for more. YouTube is a giant ocean, so anyone who's interested in starting a YouTube channel, go for it. We're starting to see a lot more YouTube activity, which is great because people will incidentally come across it for it, and people will find different channels that they like better, and so they'll look that information up. So get those YouTube videos out there.
Definitely.
We have. I can't remember how many podcasts do we have running now. You got Cardano FR.
Yes.
You have the Cardano Community Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. You have Kaizen. You got Hashoshi doing a lot of Cardano videos. Jason Appleton is doing some on Crypto Crow. He if he doesn't do primarily Cardano content, he always does something on Cardano, or he has something on Cardano in his videos. Lark has done pretty well, and Charles recently did an interview with them. Did he do an interview already? I didn't miss it. I've been too tied up this week, but he did an interview with, I think, Lark and Kaizen. Not Lark and Kaizen. Two folks out there. I'll look that one up.
I think it was with Lark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lark's got a huge channel. He does a great job. He's a very broad spectrum on crypto. Really broad spectrum.
Yeah. I think he does a great job. I like his videos.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's another hit on Vint Surf at the virtual summit.
Yes.
We touched on that one earlier. And let's see. Cardano's popularity among users skyrockets and sets the highest records for this year. There's an article there on that. I hadn't read that one yet. That was in Bitcoin News, is where that links to.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to define record, but it shows that Shelley grabbed a lot of attention on its platform when it's open for testnet to all stake pool operators earlier this week. And its hype, although it's not hype, can be estimated from the various publications and tweets over social media. Data from Lunar, an analytics company, shows that nearly 6,000 social media posts mentioning Cardano were published in the past 24 hours alone.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
Yeah. Moreover, the company's metric measuring overall social engagement showed that there were over 10.7 million posts, comments, retweets, and favorites across all social media. Ooh.
Social media it's such a powerful tool, especially for investing in general. And I think that these are interesting times because the economy right now, it's like collapsing. There's a new shift, and we don't know exactly what direction it's going, but a lot of people are interested in learning about finances and what the future of money is. And I think the future of money, part of the future lies within blockchain. So as that shift goes, as we approach the end of 2020, as we go into 2021, it's going to be a different landscape. Jobs look different. I mean, we have COVID-19. People are working from home. A lot of jobs are not going to exist next year that are existing right now, and people are going to be looking at new avenues of how to invest their money, how to work their money, how to get more returns for their money, how to be more in control of their life, more in control of their finances. So I think that social media interaction, making sure that we educate people about what's going on within proof of stake, what's going on within Cardano, exactly what they can do in order to better their lives or increase the autonomy of their own funds. I think that's going to pay dividends to everyone, and I think it's a good precedent to set right now, and allow the gates to open and allow as many people to come within our ecosystem as possible. So I think it's bullish times in the future.
Yeah, it is, and it's interesting or kind of strange that this whole COVID-19, what we've learned from it, as having a pandemic and finding out where the weak spots are in the economy and where the sustainable parts are. But the real heroes to me are the people who work in food service. I know it shows, but they really are. The people working in that supply chain, the grocery stores, and the local restaurants that can still stay open, and they adapted to the problem. And dude, the food service folks those are the real heroes, man. They really are.
Definitely.
We can go through a mass pandemic, a major lockdown, and they can still get the products delivered.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. I used to work in a restaurant. That's a tough way to make a living, man.
Oh, it is. Margins are low, and the work you have to put in is intense.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, restaurants and food service, they even got to count what they call pour costs. Those little things like 4 packs of ketchup. If someone takes 6 packs of ketchup, it starts to eat into the budget. It really does.
Yeah.
When it happens with thousands and thousands of packs of ketchup.
Yeah.
I know that might sound kind of silly, but maybe there's a blockchain solution for that. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
It adds up. All those tiny little things add up, and the margin is tight. It's really tight to stay in business in a restaurant, but they did it.
Oh, definitely.
Wingdot asked, Rick, are you a cook? Yeah, I'm a cook. Not in a restaurant. I'll cook anything, though. Everybody's a cook. Everyone's a cook. Everyone loves cooking. Let me see. I thought there was a question. I missed it. Oops, I missed it. I think we're about done. We're about to wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so too. I'm just reading the comments.
Yeah, try bartending. Yeah, bartending can be tough too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you got to be an acrobat, juggling all that stuff, being a bartender. It'd be tough. Bars kind of, I don't think I've seen an open bar around here in a while. So right now it'd be really tough. It would be really tough.
Yeah. No, things are terrible right now, Rick. I'm not even going to lie. It looks really bad. So whatever this new economy is, whatever it turns out to be, I think we're on the right side. And I think it's just a matter of time where people start realizing that there are other solutions of how they can keep their money, what they can do to increase their standing or increase the amount of wealth that they have over long periods of time. I think it's now. It is really now. I mean, you can't even, all the banks, the local bank branches are closed near me. I mean, there's one bank branch that's open and the line's always wrapped around the bank. Everything you have to do via mobile deposit now, or you have to go to an ATM machine. But even going to speak to a teller to get personal needs done, it doesn't exist anymore. So, when people are trying to get loans in the future for, cars or houses, these things need to be run on blockchain. You need to be able to access money in a way where you don't have to access a teller from 9 to 5 every day in order to get access to those funds. It would be nice to have solutions where people can access money in ways where even if the availability is not there, they can still be part of the entire system. So I think that's a positive looking forward.
Yep. Advances in technology, always a good thing.
Definitely.
Done with caution. Yeah. Done with due diligence. It's a good thing to get the technology out there. The question that I missed was, is there going to be a event for the stake pool operators? That was from Greg Volke, Ada Pool ticker VOLCY. So Greg asked, I hope one day we could make an event for the pool operators. We do have a Cardano stake pool operator channel.
Yes.
We've had several of the Haskell, Rust, Testnet, ITN pool podcast episodes. I think it's time to do another one. What do you think?
I think so too. I mean, I want to talk about the Haskell testnet. I mean, with these pool operators, and I think within the next couple of weeks, or maybe within the next month, maybe we can set something up.
We do. We really need to do that. So I'll start working on something with the pool operators and the Stake Pool podcast. Greg, if you would like to come on, check out the Stake Pool podcast channel, and I'll drop you a link down below in the description when we're done with the podcast, along with the links on how to set up a Cardano node. All right.
Yes.
Are we good on the Reddit news? I think we hit the top 10, almost everything. The top 10, although we didn't dive deep. It is parallel to what we brought up earlier in the podcast.
Yes.
So what you got, Philippe?
one more press release from Emergo. On June 9th, they announced that they're going to partner with Ergo, which is to build a blockchain-based decentralized financial solution. So Ergo is another cryptocurrency project, which is proof of work. And the work that they're doing at Ergo is pretty impressive. I mean, I think they have smart contracts enabled already. They're staking within their proof of work system. I'm not a huge fan of proof of work protocols, so it's hard for me to really delve into those projects when, as soon as I hear proof of work, I'm kind of a little bit turned off. But I think that they're doing pretty good work, so that partnership should pay dividends in the future. So I think that's good. You can go check that out on the Emergo website. They have a blog. Once again, go to all three blogs, the IOHK blog, have them all bookmarked. The IOHK blog, Emergo blog, and the Cardano Foundation blog as your go-to news release sources, and read those articles as opposed to third-party articles written on these shanty crypto websites that really make no sense. Get the facts straight from the organizations, straight from IOHK, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation. You don't need to read any of the other fluff that gets misinterpreted or wrong things are said consistently.
Yeah.
There are some great writers writing great briefs about what's going on.
Yeah. Always go to the source.
Yes.
Always go to the source. That's interesting. And Ergo is partnered up with Emergo. It's like the only other company on planet Earth whose name rhymes with Emergo is Ergo.
Yeah.
And they found them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Always go to the source. Also, as a last reminder, as we start to check out here, is always beware of scams. There was a scam website posted. It was called Cardano dash something. Always remember, if it looks too good to be true, it is not true. That's just the general rule of thumb. No one ever gives away money for free. It just doesn't work that way. I think everybody knows that. Most of our viewers are pretty smart about that. And, Rococo asks, on the wrap-up here, finishing up, Rococo asks, what do you think about Elon Musk's Starlink project? Will that help decentralization and overcoming government restrictions? Well, I think it will help decentralization because the Starlink project is going to get better internet to more remote locations. So currently, very remote locations out in the prairies and the savannas and the mountains of the world, it's very hard to get high-speed cabled or fiber internet into those locations, and Starlink is going to really help those areas. Now, in densely populated cities that already have a very high-speed internet, fiber and cable and stuff like that, it's not going to help them as much because they already have something that's very usable. Does that make sense?
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
But the very remote areas will have much better internet service, and it'll help them get a little more connectivity.
Oh, no, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I lived in the middle of nowhere in Mississippi for a couple of years, and I can tell you internet is a problem. So, even Charles lives in very remote area too, and he has said before in previous live streams that he has had trouble with internet connectivity. So, it plagues a large portion of the world in remote areas. So if you don't live in a big city and you live in a very remote area, it's very difficult to have fast speeds and you can't live stream, you can't do anything. So
Yep. I've read latency speeds of, I believe, 30 milliseconds, or is it a 50 millisecond uplink with it. It'll take a little while because you have you got to have an emitter. Right now, if you have people who have satellite internet, you have a satellite receiver, and then inbound comes from satellite, and outbound goes over a phone line. But with Starlink, I believe you would have to have an emitter nearby, and then it's cabled to you, or an emitter somewhere locally to transmit and receive with the Starlink. I believe that's how it works. So that's a little bit different characteristic than the current form of satellite internet. Like my daughter had satellite internet, and it was receive via dish and transmit via phone line.
Okay.
And it worked, but it was in a really remote area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Download speed was okay, and upload speed was, well, it was a phone line. All right. I think that's all we got for you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Philippe, you want to take us out, sir?
Yes, thank you to everyone for tuning in this Sunday. We hope everyone had a wonderful week. This is our weekly live stream series, so it's a more relaxed podcast episode. You can check what we covered in the Cardano Reddit. We covered some of the latest news. We covered the countdown to Shelley launch, Hyperledger. We talked about the summit. We talked about some of the blog posts from Emergo and the Cardano Foundation, and lots of different things. So we really have a good time in this podcast. Sometimes we talk about price, sometimes we don't. But today, I think we talked a little bit about price, which is wonderful. And please register for the summit and have a wonderful week. And we have a special episode that's coming out probably within the next couple of weeks that we're working on. So keep on tuning in. Please like, comment, and share. And until the next episode of The Cardano Effect. Bye, everyone.